What's up, everybody? Marcus and Santos back for episode 31 of Disc Golf Amateur Hour in the season of Marcus, now including a mustache.
The season of Marcus and his. No, we're not. We're gonna keep it PG for now.
Yeah, first 5 minutes
Marcus
you
the
can't you
Dirty
can't you
Sanchez. Yeah,
can't
I
swear
can't.
in the first 5 minutes of a YouTube video.
Oh,
Not that
God.
we're monetized anyway, but
Right. Not until we get Brody on, anyways. We're working
right.
on that.
Yeah, we're in talks with his manager.
First thing his manager said is, "Why Sully?" I'm like, shit.
Yeah, he's
Oh
like,
well.
man, you guys are associated with that guy. Oh, I don't know.
So let's get into what happened last week. I want to talk quickly about what the. Let's talk about the Pro Tour first,
Pro Tour,
because I
yeah,
did watch. I had time to watch it, right?
yeah.
And the final round for the women, I have never seen Own miss the putts that she missed. Like 15-footer, 10 foot, like
Yeah,
she
that's
missed a
very
couple of them,
unlike her.
right? And I've seen some tournaments where she had, we're going to call it, we're going to assume, but we shouldn't, but we're going to, is the finals pressure, right? Final day, you're in the heat of battle. She had a couple grip locks. Those, it's not something that she will
Uh,
normally do. Her
well, is it
backhand, she
a
was
backhand
really
grip lock?
doing
I was
it a
saying she
lot.
shanked some forehands.
She shanked some forehands into the ground, trying
Yeah,
to go a
she
little
does
extra.
that
She has done
often.
that, yes. But the back hand wasn't treating her very well, which
Okay.
has always been covered with her putting.
Yeah.
Period. Right? I mean, she
Yeah.
is the top female putter.
Yeah. Those
Out to
putters.
the circle's edge and a little bit beyond, there is no fear in that woman. She's banging chains, and it was surprising to watch,
Yeah.
and at the same time exciting to watch and cheer for Weatherman to come from
Yeah.
the chase card and like focus, locked in. Did you get to see highlights or watch the final round? Did you have time?
I got to see some highlights from the women's final round. Yeah.
Yeah, it
So
was awesome to watch. And
yeah.
she broke Paige's record from rookie. How many days on tour before winning first
Oh,
elite?
really?
Yeah,
I didn't catch that.
I
That's
think
cool.
Paige had it in like 300 days or something like that, and she broke it.
Wow.
So,
Wow.
um,
And it was
awesome job to watch that.
the first FPO chase card winner since like 2016, maybe
Oh yeah, yeah, that too.
on
So
the Pro
yeah, I
Tour.
mean, it's a performance. That puts more of a spotlight on the performance that she was able to pull through, and
Yeah.
and the,
Very
the putt to
historic.
win, the putt to
Yeah, that
win,
was cool.
that was clutch.
That was sick.
That was awesome to see. And then on the men's side, you had AB doing AB things, like just
Just yeah, he
wow,
kind of chased down Hammies, but like I don't know, AB just kind of controlled it the whole round.
yeah. I say Hammy's
And
bobbled it.
then he kind of and then Hammies kind of lost it for himself. He
Yeah,
kind of threw himself out of it on the last like 3 holes or 4 holes with a couple bad shots, a couple
and you
poorly
definitely
timed
know what
bad
that
shots.
feels like, don't you?
Yeah, yeah,
Too soon? It's only been a week. I'm gonna let it ride. But yeah, it was awesome watching AB do the AB things, and this guy, between him and what's his name, the other kid, just
Gannon.
as tall, Gannon Burke.
Yeah,
Those two, I mean, they can take disc golf levels ahead,
yeah,
and in the next probably 5 to 10 years, those guys are crushing. And
yeah,
I just saw again the highlight of him overshooting that 740-foot hole. I mean,
yeah.
slightly downhill, but it wasn't even measurably downhill by a lot. But he can throw, and
Yeah.
Gannon can throw. I
Gannon
just
can also
watched
throw. Yeah,
during the day. I just saw some highlights from the preserve for the final round again, watching Gannon and
yeah,
the three putts at towards the end again, and I was like, I felt so bad for somebody who was usually locked in. He hit band
yeah.
twice and rolled back that far. Like, man. But yeah, I think disc golf is headed in the right direction with those guys, and hopefully somebody
Oh
can tell
yeah.
us what's happening with Prodigy to see what
Soon.
direction they're headed in.
Yeah, we'll find out real soon. I think.
That
Um,
was the pro week. That was. Let's talk about your week. That
my week
was.
that was so 4th of July. Went to a bunch of concerts. Did that fun stuff around here. Went out to the Ballantine Temp course in Charlotte, which is
Yeah.
super sick. It's a really fun open course on a old ball golf course, but it's not just like wide open. They have nice tight OB, and it's staked out, and it looks like a pro tour course. It looks really nice.
So I have seen and heard from you guys, obviously, but I did see someone posting in Charlotte I thought it was an active ball golf course because somebody asked, "What are the chances of having this thing in permanently?" And they were like, "None. It's
There's
never going to
zero
happen."
chance. Yeah, the land's
What's going on at that property?
the land is already earmarked for a new grocery store. They're putting a Wegmans in on that property, on part of it.
Okay,
It's on part
so
of
it's
it's on a
owned by the government, local
it's owned by
government, and then they're selling.
they might be selling. I think it's a college campus. There's like what would appear
Okay,
to be dorms, and it's like across the street from a college too. So it's either like
okay.
off-campus housing or something, right across the street from a college. So they might have sold the land to Wegmans to build a Wegmans, which
Is
is
Danny still around? We can call him and ask
we
him
can
for some
call
of that
Danny.
land back.
We'll call Kevin McDonald.
Yeah, that's our in. I forgot all about him.
Speaking of Kevin McDonald, that's what my mom texted me. He was like, "Hey, do you know Kevin McDonald from around here, like around Buffalo?" I was like, "Yeah, very well. He's like a good friend of mine." He's like, "Oh yeah, he's been going out with like the disc golf with like another one of our like my lifelong friends from like preschool because they both worked at Wegmans and know each other. And he's been now that Kevin's back from surgery, he's been disc golfing again with one of my buddies."
I've only been to a couple of the Wednesday Travel League, and I haven't seen him there. So
Yeah,
I
I don't
don't.
know what he's
I figured
doing.
he was still out. Okay,
No, he's been playing.
Kevin, I'm looking
Yeah.
for you, bud. Want to see you out there. I love shit talking to you.
But so then after, fireworks, whatever, on Thursday, I go back to work Friday because we had to work on Friday. Um, and Hannah texted me midday. Hannah, my lovely fiance and our former studio audience when we recorded in the old space. Hannah texted me and was like, "Hey, I want to go disc golf today," which she has never said in the last 2.5 years. She has never once been like, "Hey, let's go disc golf." So I
Did
was
you
like,
ask if somebody stole her phone? Did you
I know. I
believe it
was
was
like,
her right
who,
off the bat?
who are you? So I was like, yeah, we can go. I wanted to go to another round anyway to talk to them about some stuff and just go hang out and let the weather cool down a little bit because it was 100 degrees still Friday. So I was like, yeah, we'll go after. We'll let it cool off for an hour or so. Then when they close, we'll head to the course. So I was like, and we'll go pick through the used bin, find some good used discs for beginners. They have a nice lightweight section at another round. So Hannah, after looking at a bunch of
Another
discs,
round Greenville.
another round Greenville.
Just
Yes.
point it out to let people
Yes.
know because there are
Another
a
round
couple of them.
Greenville. There's a bunch of them. Yes, another round Greenville. So Hannah was, poking through all of the lightweight section. Had a passion in her hand, like a nice lightweight passion, maybe like 160s, 165. And I was like, it's gonna be a little bit of discs for her to throw, but it'll beat in. You'll work into it. And then she like ended up wanting to pick up like all pink discs. And I was like, of course you do. There was no like Latitude 64 diamonds or anything in there in the used section. They just didn't have any, or in the lightweight section. But then we found everyone's favorite beginner disc, a DX Leopard, a nice pink, like 165 DX Leopard, a throw pink women's Star Mirage, which is like the flippy Innova putter, and then she grabbed an Invader from. They have still the Ava Lutsenko fundraiser invaders, all the Innova fundraiser stuff for her for going to Junior Worlds. So Hannah wanted to support her and get one of those, and I was like, yeah, grab an Invader. She liked the colors, like Halo Star, looks really cool. And then we went in Saturday, and they were doing another signing, so she got Ava to sign it for her, which she was happy about.
Nice.
So yeah,
That's
Hannah
awesome.
we went and played Century Park, which is like my home course. It's a pitch and putt for the most part. There's like 3 holes over 400 feet for some reason, and everything else is a pitch and putt. But what I wanted to get into is because Santos, I mean, we were all beginners at one point, right? So for Hannah starting, with someone's first time going to disc golf, I'm never gonna try and be like, do this, do that, throw form tips, like got to get into the power pocket. I'm just like, no, just go through the disc. If I see something glaringly wrong that's making you do something very weird, I'll tell you what to do to fix it. So like Hannah was letting go of the disc. I was like, just grip the shit out of it. You're not gonna hold on to it. It's gonna come out of your hand. I promise. And she did. And it went straight and farther. Just the letting the disc rip out of your hand part is a huge thing for beginners.
I still struggle with that now.
Yeah,
that. You've had
I
this
still
talk.
do. I still let go of the disc sometimes, and I do it worse now. Where I just don't trust my grip that it's going to come out still, and I'm still working on that. But obviously, I'm throwing a little harder than someone that's just starting. So when I told Hannah, I was like, just make sure you grip the heck out of it and don't let it go, and it's going to come out. And it would go straighter, go flatter. She's throwing little like nose up high shots that go like 150 feet. And I'm like, that's whatever. That's how you start. They're like 300-foot holes or less. So you get there in a couple, make a putt, and you get like a 4 or 5 on every hole. And that's fine. You know, she was counting her strokes. She was like, you know, I got a 4 on that one or I got a 5 on that one. And, you know, she would get to like the circle in 2 throws and have like, you know, 30 feet for par or something on a lot of them. It's reasonable. But I wanted to talk about, you know, starting off, like what you were in a unique scenario when you started compared to a normal person, compared to the average person that starts disc golf. So just talk about your starting experience a little bit.
So I think I was at a bar with Christian, my son, and something came up with a basket. We saw a basket, something at a park, something on TV, commercial, what have you. Christian says, "Hey, I know how to play frisbee golf." He's like, "I played it in Texas and in Washington." I was like, "What, really?" Went on Amazon, bought a couple starter packs. Immediately, we got 2 starter packs. One was the Innova and one was the Akun, because you didn't want to buy the same starter pack for both, right? Just to have them. And then immediately took off. So we get to a park. First one we found was Lincoln, and just doing exactly what you said. We're just ripping stuff like we know what we're doing, right?
Mm-hmm.
I immediately start researching, and I'm like, wait, what's the best mid? What's the best driver? So I'm researching in the wrong way. I didn't say what's the best mid for a beginner. What's the best driver for a beginner? So I got a Buzz and I got a Destroyer.
Yeah.
I got a Beast. I got a Tesla. And so I get at the time an MVP. I think it was the Anode, but I'm not sure. Okay. There was an MVP putter that was in the mix there too. Ion. It was an Ion.
Ions are great.
Yeah. So I get all these things because I like playing, and these are going to make my game a little better because I had, you know, customized golf clubs for ball golf. So I'm like,
right.
If I find the right ones, I'll do better. And we start going around, and I think I had like probably like an 80-foot throw in after a couple, like maybe 4 or 5 times being out.
Yeah.
And it was like amazing, right? You know that feeling.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, halfway there, I scream out, "Christian, watch!" And he's looking. He's like, "It's going in." I knew it was going in because it was just laser straight.
Yeah.
And we find out about Beaver, and we think because we're men, we automatically have to play blues, and any women have to play the whites at Beaver. So again, we don't know any better. We get to 18, and there's this kid ripping drives to the opening of 18 on like just straight field work. Like he's just throwing it, goes back, grabs another, throws it, and he sees us watching, and he's like, "Do you guys?" He's like, "This is kind of funny, but you guys mind recording me? I'd like to see what I'm doing for my drives." And we're just in awe because he's doing something that we hadn't even seen. Like we hadn't seen YouTube videos or anything on it yet. You know, we saw a ESPN highlight back when I think Philo aced.
The Philo Albatross.
Something like that, yeah.
Or the Nate Doss ace, yeah.
I think it was the Philo Albatross.
The Philo Albatross.
Yeah, around the corner, yeah. It doesn't. So he says it, and then we record him, and he says, "I can actually show you guys." Like, he lets us play through. He sees how horribly new we are. He goes, I can actually show you guys a couple of tips if you have the time.
Yeah.
And I immediately said yes, and I think I was the driver and maybe Tonio, but they were stuck. So you're going to do what I say.
Yeah.
And sure enough, it was Bob Buckley, gave us some tips, saw immediately how it could help because I started ripping a straight shot. He's like, "Yeah, you know, you're catching on pretty quick."
Yeah.
So gave me WNYDGC to get local information, gave me YouTube to look at, gave me the Infinite website.
Yeah.
Gave me like just everything to get me so deep into it. We all had the same opportunity. Christian was there, Tonio was there. I want to say maybe Lisi was there for that one, but it was one other person. We all had the same opportunity, but I'm the one that saw it and I took it serious. So I said, "Bob, whenever you're doing what you're doing, let me know." And he gave him my number. He was so stoked that he found that like a new person to play with.
Yeah.
He would invite me, and he would invite all of us, but it was slowly they would start to fade off, but I stayed. And that's when he was telling me about this 16-year-old kid at the time who could rip and shred and this and that, and nobody ever saw the kid. Yeah, nobody ever saw the kid.
Yeah.
until one day we were at Outwater for I want to say it was an MVP event because you had to choose Axiom or MVP.
Yeah, one of the old Axiom versus MVP
Yeah, and
challenges.
that's when I met the kid the first time. Saw him play. You had to use their stuff. We were using it,
Yeah.
and he was. I mean, everything that Bob talked about,
Yeah.
equally as eager to help me.
Yeah.
So I had Bobcat, I had Justin, and then that crew was, surrounded by some pretty good people. That's how we stumbled into you for like that first winter
Putting,
league that we did
putting.
with
Oh
with
yeah. Yeah.
yeah, we saw you at putting league, but
Yeah.
that we stumbled into the winter
The
league,
team
and that's
challenge.
when
Yeah.
Mo and those guys,
Yeah.
right,
That
from
first
the
team was
combo
really
team,
good.
yeah, and so I really got lucky. I fell into just Danny, get like all
Hmm.
of the really good players who were just so helpful, and uh, I was at the time willing to do what they said when they said.
Yeah.
Sometimes when you're giving someone tips, they're like, "Go home and work on it." I'm like, "No, I'm going to do it right now. I don't
Yeah.
care if it's a tournament and they told me something they saw. I'm going to do it because I don't care about my rating. I care about getting better faster."
Right.
And I did. Right? It was in like October, I think, when I met up with him. The end of September, October. He showed a video from day one when he recorded me,
Oh yeah.
when I recorded him, and then 1 month later at Como,
Yeah.
throwing 13, and you could see the difference.
That's really cool.
And
That's
then
cool to
the
have.
following June, I won the amateur
Yeah.
championships for MA3.
Yeah.
And you guys all suckered me into doing a speech. I thought you were supposed to do it. I didn't know any better.
You always can. If you win it, if you win your division, you always just say, hey, thanks, like thank the TD, and
Yeah,
I have no
it's
problem with
usually
that.
something the FPO,
Yeah,
MPO,
the
or
pros will
40,
do it,
like
but
they
I have
do
no.
it. They do it.
If someone in any AM division wants to thank the TD, I have no problem with that.
I would actually, I don't know if you recall, but after we started throwing tournaments for MA or FA MA amateurs, 3, 2, 1, I would ask them if it's your first win, like give us a speech, like
Yeah, yeah,
give us like talk, like it's okay, it's
right,
actually allowed here because I was suckered into it. So now why not you get a couple minutes to
right.
talk to people? And I thought that was cool.
So you
So
learned
yeah,
disc golf like fundamentally the right way. You had people that were
immediately, yeah,
not only did you have people that knew what they were doing teaching you, you have some of the best teachers in the world. Like
yeah,
genuinely, Bob and Justin are some of the best teachers you ever will find in
yeah.
any area.
Especially together, if you're lucky enough to have
Yeah,
them together and go through and be able to put into effect what they're telling you, um, they just vibe off each other. They just know so much about golf, so
yeah.
it helped me tremendously. And then they moved to Charlotte, and my game went down the toilet. And you left to Boston. Everybody just left at the same time.
Oh, I got
The
so
game
good
went
when I
down
went
to
to
the toilet.
Boston
I
too
haven't
for
recovered.
no reason. I got so good when I went to Boston, and then I
You
came
were
back to
talking about the
Buffalo.
woods there, right?
Yeah, it was tough. Yeah, I was
Yeah,
throwing like 400-foot shots on woods tunnels, like just
yeah.
some of my favorite shots I've ever thrown are like I remember the first time I hit like it's I wish I could do this whole justice. It's like it's a dogleg left to a landing zone and then dogleg back right. But if you hit it as a lefty, it was like a 600-foot hole. I could hit it as a lefty with like a beat up destroyer where I could hyzer flip it so it was flipping up the whole way down the first gap, turns into the second gap, and then fades back down the second like at past the landing zone. I remember the first time that I like the only time I ever hit that one perfect, where I just unloaded on a destroyer like 400 and something feet, little downhill, so it's just like flipping up the whole way, turning, fights back, and then I don't know if it was that time I actually threw in for eagle on that hole. It was a par four. I have one eagle on that hole. I remember throwing in with this disc.
Oh
My favorite
yeah.
blue banger GT. I threw in for eagle on that hole with my favorite blue banger. Um, but yeah, now that I live by Justin and Bob, I'm getting incredibly better. Like, and so I'll tell them a little bit about the way I started. I started, you know, we had Can Jam in our area, right? Can Jam's a Buffalo sport.
Hmm.
My cousin's husband lived next to the guys that invented it, like in the same
Yeah, my
neighborhood as
brother and I were like undefeated for 2 years
yeah,
at Can Jam
like
before disco.
in the same neighborhood of the Gronkowskis. Like that's just where my cousin's husband like lived in like Williamsville. That was where it was.
Hmm.
So we knew about Can Jam forever, and he had all these made up bullshit rules. That he was like, no, I know the guys that made it up. This is the rule. We were like, okay, Nick, whatever you say. So we would just like, be throwing a frisbee around, having fun. So then me and my dad started playing catch with a frisbee, an ultimate lid, just a Can Jam ultimate lid. And then that turned into like, we go back farther and farther to see how far you can throw it. We're throwing it across our whole backyard. It's like, and they have like a 200, their house is like a 250 or 300 foot backyard. So we're probably throwing it 100 and something feet back and forth playing catch, right? And then I'm like, hey, this disc golf thing exists. Like, we should get discs and try this out. So some friends of mine in high school did it. They dove for discs at Como. So I would just, they pull out discs. They give me like, I give them $5. They give me like a DX Wraith or something. So like a DX Wraith and a DX Beast and a couple putters or something. It was my first discs. First, like, starter discs. And then, so you're throwing a DX Wraith, and doesn't matter what you do, it's still a Wraith. It's still 11 speed. It's going to fade. So I'm trying to figure it out. I'm buying more discs. I'm getting more discs from them, from the pond at Como. And then, so I'm starting to research flight numbers and stuff. So the old Innova factory store had the flight numbers and described what they were. Not well at all. So it would describe like turn and fade. So that like those made sense. Turn and fade. Like how much the disc wants to go one way versus the other way. There was no good description of what speed was. So
I remember when I did that, I didn't know the description of speed. So Antonio was throwing something that was going like to the left.
Yeah.
And I would say, well, you need something faster and something with more turn or more fade. I had no idea that you had to have the arm speed to match that.
Right.
I was just telling him, it'll do this or it'll do that. No clue until I started learning it all from Bob and Justin.
Same thing, where I was like, I grabbed like a Daedalus. It was like, they're like 13.5 minus 4.1 or something. They're like, Daedalus is super flippy if you have a 13 speed arm. But if you're just starting the game, a Champ Daedalus is not going to be understable at all. And it's like max weight from Dick's, because that's where we would buy discs before we knew about Fat Man, which was the first, and then before we went to Doug's, before we went to Hawks Landing to get discs. So then then I start, I guess, so that was like junior and senior year of high school. We'd go to the Ridge, and we would just throw thumbers. Then one of my buddies shows me, he's like, yo, you can throw these overhand like a baseball. We were like prime of your life athletes in high school. We had like 350 foot thumbers. So like we could dice up some holes pretty well. And then, I figured out how to putt a little bit. And then college came around and I went out disc golfing with my roommate and Reed. And because Reed was like, yeah, I did it at summer camp once. And like, we're pretty sure Reed played disc golf with Steve Dodge at a summer camp, because Steve Dodge was a camp counselor and like designed disc golf courses in Vermont.
Wow. And
Reed went to like summer camps in Vermont. He's from Vermont. Yeah. So we're like pretty confident he, was around Steve Dodge without knowing, 15 years, 20 years ago, which is just a hilarious thing to come full circle and then go to Maple Hill.
I mean, I sat there and I spoke with Rico at the airport, and after Ledgestone not having a clue who he was.
Yeah.
Until I text Justin and he said he was on Justin's card once, and they're like, dude, he owns his own disc company. I was like, what?
He owns Legacy. Yeah, Steve Rico and Bomba Rico are really cool dudes for the sport.
No idea who he was, but he was awesome to talk to when he saw me with my disc golf bag. Gave me a lot of pointers.
So then, college rolls around. We play a little disc golf. The spring of college rolls around, and I'm like, yo, there's like, I bet I look up like what are professionals doing in this? Like, there's got to be professionals, right? So I Google it. And I find like Spin TV or Central Coast coverage, and it's like Philo and Ian, or it's like Ian Anderson and Corey Merle at the time. Ian Anderson from is now on commentary, and Corey Merle is Johnny Disc Golf from the famous Central Coast videos. Who he's now, I think he's just Johnny Disc Golf. I don't know what his. That might just be his YouTube. I can't remember.
Wasn't he a cameraman?
He was a cameraman for Central Coast. He did commentary with Ian on Central Coast videos.
But I saw him with Jomez, no?
Yeah, he might work for somebody now in the Pro Tour. He's somewhere in the scene still.
Yeah, we saw him when we were at some of the events.
But I find a video of like maybe Worlds, 2014 Worlds. I can't remember where that was. It couldn't have been Worlds. It was like Maybe it was USDGC. No, it was somewhere in California. I know it was somewhere in California because it was like Golden Gate Park or something. It was one of those ones. Then I'm watching it and I'm like, okay, these dudes throw far, but like I look like these guys. I'm the same build. You know, they show Will Schustrick. I'm like I look like Will Schustrick. I'm tall and skinny. I could do this. And then that was when I started like diving into form and how to like really do it. And then I learned about flight numbers, and that was when I started throwing, you know, putters in my parents' backyard, the length of the backyard, until I could throw them 300 feet. And I ran out of space, and I was hitting the neighbor's house. Like I was just, and then and that's where like that was 10 years ago, or yeah, 10 years ago. I'd been like 17 or 18 or so, for my freshman year of college. So I was just loved it ever since then.
So, did you, when you found someone, like what happens a lot of times is when you have new people with newer people with bringing other people, and those new people don't know what they're saying, so bad habits,
Yeah,
bad information. It absolutely. Christina used to walk with me while we were playing, and I'd hear somebody giving the worst tips on what to do, and I would just be like, "No," and she'd be like, "What are you talking about?" And I would just be like, "No, you can't say that to people." And she's like, "What are you talking about?" I'm like, that guy over there, 2 holes over, he's telling someone to do something. She's like, "What? What?" Like, I can't hear my kids 5 feet from me, but I can hear somebody giving bad information 2 holes away
yeah, yeah.
because it is so bad. You just want to walk up to a stranger and say, "I'm sorry," but don't do what this guy's telling you, right?
That's yeah. That
And some
is
people have to undo all that and basically start over.
yeah. And I got lucky. I got lucky in getting lucky. I just somehow lucked my way into really good form. With obviously I practiced form. I did like I sat there and did the Beto drill forever. Like the Beto drill is a really good one for getting your pull through right. If you can stomach the timing and just spending in 2 hours doing the Beto drill, you will get immensely better. I did that like on a freezing windy day at the turf field at my high school, just in the middle of winter on winter break. I just did the Beto drill because that was just what I had to do. You know, I was like, if this is how you get better, then I'm gonna do it. And you know,
Yeah.
I worked on my pull through. I got that, you know, straight pull through. And then I got a lot of luck in being athletic and playing swing sports. I was a baseball player. I batted right-handed. If you bat right-handed, your lead arm is your left elbow when you're batting.
I
You
did
want to
not know that. I didn't
when
know
you
you batted right-handed.
yeah, I bat right-handed. So when you want to drive through, when you're swinging a baseball bat, and you want to drive through. You're driving through with your lead elbow as your left elbow. In about this is the power pocket. You're driving through in the power pocket. So if you just take off your backhand, naturally, and your hips, you lead with your hips. You step into it, lead with your hips. Your arm comes through, your shoulders come through, and you swing. So I got lucky in that originally I just had the right timing. You know, I did the upper body, I did the arm mechanics. I learned where to put the disc, how to pull through straight, but the rest of it was just natural by accident. And then I unlearned it by accident like 3 years ago, and then I had to relearn it. I had to relearn what I was doing right 7 years ago. And that was a frustrating time. So like I wish I had learned it like a little better mechanically, you know, ground up. But at the same time, I got a lot of good disc golf out of what I learned myself.
And it did work. I mean, that's why they spotted you at putting league and were like,
Well,
"I
putting
think we
league.
should add
So
this guy."
I'll I'll have to link the video. I'll find it. It's probably 15 or 12, 15 to 17 years old now. Because it was 5 years old when I watched it in 2016. It's a Dave Feldberg putting clinic. It's how I learned to putt. It's how Justin learned to putt. And then we both, you know, changed our putt to, we've adapted to our own game. But that was how both of us learned to putt originally, was this one Dave Feldberg putting clinic. And I think if everyone goes back to that, they would be the best putters, the best versions of their putt would be learning from that video.
I I can't say I had a putting style when I started that they had to mold into. They just said you hold it a little different when you putt, fan it a
Mm-hmm.
little bit better. But like I said, for my brother and I doing hand jam, I had a natural, like,
Yeah,
just a motion for it to push.
yeah,
Um, so I was doing that little push in the beginning, and
yeah.
Justin was doing that spush. We call it the in
Mm-hmm.
between. And I was struggling. I wasn't doing good. And then I see Mo one time bringing it up from here, and he was a straight spin. I
Yeah.
said, that looks easier to me. So I grabbed some putters. I start spin putting, and the rest is history. My putting got much better. Putting league over the winter helped
Yeah.
with the
Oh
focus
my
on that,
god,
but
yeah.
it was the spin putt is what I found just through other people telling me different things. I still can't stand, and I know I will have to work on it. Actually, we should probably make that as part of an event or a putting thing is um, stations where you are straddle putting
Yeah.
and the other ones where you're stagger putting. So
Mhm.
people who are comfortable staggering have to do it straddle, and people who are comfortable straddle have to do it the other way.
Yeah.
That's
You
an
get a lot
idea,
better.
but yeah. So I was with I don't want to cut you off. Are you good with the point you were making about the new people?
I was just gonna end my story with my putting was I just Paul Macbeth was the best putter ever to ever play the game, and when I started, so I just copied Paul's form, which everyone did
Okay.
in 2015. Everybody copied Paul's form.
Yeah, he was whooping everyone's butt.
Everybody tried to make Paul's form. It was awesome to see. It was really cool. Now I have
Wasn't
more.
Ricky around then too, though?
He was not putting the same way he was in 2016,
Oh,
17, and
okay,
18. 2017 and 18, Ricky was unreal putting. Like he was
okay,
better than the best of Macbeth putting, but Macbeth had McBeast mode, which was just
right.
like a different level of
Yeah,
play.
a golf altogether.
Yeah, it was just altogether clutch, which Rick didn't have in 2012 through 2015. Because he was there. He was
Hmm.
second place. He lost to Paul in a playoff in 2012 or 2013 or 2014. I forget which one. Whichever one was in Portland. He lost to Paul in a playoff on like Paul came back like 6 strokes in the last 9 holes or something crazy and then won in a playoff. It was nuts. And that was when Worlds was like 9 rounds. So it was like the guys were like 100 under par after 9 rounds.
Are they five now? I forgot.
They're 4 or 5. Yeah, I don't know how many Worlds is. Some years it's 4, some
I thought
years
they were
it's
five.
5.
Yeah, I like five. That's a good number for worlds.
5's a good number for
Team
Worlds.
rises to the top.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. So, um, problem that I've been having with my putters right now is um backups.
Yeah.
My putters being we've had this talk a couple times.
Yeah, you've
They're
always had
just
this problem.
expensive.
Yeah.
They're just expensive no matter what. So I rotate to a different one. I rotate to a different one. Expensive taste. I don't know what. It's not that I see something that I know to be hard to get or expensive, and I say I want to try that. I go through different discs, and when I feel that comfort and they're working for me, that's all I want.
Yeah.
So I try to get them. So when the Fierce was there, I had the Fierce, and I went from the Maiden to the Fierce,
Yeah.
and my putting got a lot better. So that's what I went with. Then the Fierce was hard to get and expensive if you wanted the backups. You're paying
Yeah.
$20 for a putter,
Yeah, 20 bucks
25.
for a base plastic putter is a lot.
So I went to the Logic, easy to get. Then I was doing soft Logics, good. But then when they introduced extra soft in one of their mystery packs, it was money. I loved it instantly. I grabbed, I think, two more from someone else. Like I bought them, and I bought backups. I've lost. I want to say two. I have two left. But again, in a special run, in a mystery box, people want $25, and I want a stack. I want a backup. I want to be able to comfortable and rotate
And
them
practice and
and practice. And I can't do it with my extra softs because they do chunk
yeah.
hitting the cage, right?
Yeah.
So Jeff came through and he brought some Warlocks. He brought the three plastics, the SS, the Nylon, the Diamond. All really good. The Warlock actually feels a lot like the Logic. I thought there was more of a difference. We thought like it was going to be a cross between like the Logic and the Fierce, where it's
Yeah.
more flatter, rounded edge. It
Rounded. Yeah.
isn't. Put them
Yeah.
right next to each other, and the feel almost identical. They're probably off by
Yeah.
like 2 centimeters
Yeah.
when they do the diameter or whatever. So it felt great, but it didn't have that softness. So I talked to you about I'm going to get the 3S, and then I'm going to try first I'm just going to get a couple of 3S's, and I think
Yeah.
one of them was like the Glow 3S or something like that.
Yeah.
That has a rubber with it.
Yep.
I'm going to get those, and I'm gonna run with those. Anyways, so I got those from him, and I'm practicing, and I'm playing with Spencer, and we're doing the Derby layout at JD,
Yeah.
which a lot of you people, I don't know if you know about it. Um, we've thrown it twice, but we need it again. So, anyways, go to JD, go to UDisc, look up. I think Jimmy put it under OG Safari.
Yes.
There's a little question on some of the distances. He didn't update. Whatever. It doesn't matter. What matters is the layout is there, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're going to JD, and now there is a lot of grown-in brush and trees that do affect. It's not just wide open JD, especially
Yeah.
when you're having to navigate two holes at once. There's a lot of par fours, a lot of par fives. I played like absolute dog shit, but it was just off the tee, right? Everything off the
Yeah.
tee. I was trying to throw farther, so I was grip locking to let it pull out of my hand.
Right.
And if I didn't do something like that, I was going overcompensating completely and letting it go early,
Mm-hmm.
completely to the left. So between like the only thing that saved me was my approaches and my putting. I think I ended up like maybe one or two over. Um,
Yeah, that's
but
pretty good. Layout's long.
all of my drives were just all over the place. I couldn't get it
Yeah.
done. But a couple of times you find yourself behind a tree or something like that, and Spencer was the one who told me he's been focused and working on his straddle putts.
Yeah.
So I have my straddle putts, a little shoulder width apart, trying to get comfortable. Take that leg you're going to push off of, which in my case is my right, and turn my knee in and my foot in just a little bit more
Yeah.
to give that
Yeah.
push
I do that.
towards it, to where it's not just flat foot staring at it in a little duff. You're actually driving, and you're able to use that balance. And it has made a difference the few times that I've used it. I'm not making all of them, but I'm
You getting them there?
above the cage
Yeah.
and hitting the band, and I'm hitting metal, so it's not awkward for me, right? If it's something I truly cared about fixing, then I'd go in my yard and I'd throw 100 straddle putts a day until I'm comfortable
Yeah.
doing it. I don't. I even bought the bricks to make permanent layouts for stations between 15 and
Yeah.
35 feet. I just didn't do it. It's
Yeah.
I have it there for when I'm ready, but I'm not committed to it because I'm not competitive like that anymore.
Right.
But it is nice to know when I'm having these competitive casual rounds with you guys.
Yeah.
Like it's casual, but we are
No, we're
competitive as hell when we
competitive.
talk to each other. So the straddle helps, and being able to do different styles of putting. I had to do the worst lean out one knee all the way around the bush on the final hole, and I was
Mm-hmm.
stretched for all I could. And I'm 6'2". I was stretched as far as I could to get
Yeah.
away from that bush, and I caught plenty of chains,
Yeah.
center and left. It just rolled through all of the chains and then kicked out to the left.
Yeah.
It would have felt great to finish on that, but
Got dizzled.
a par is a par. It's yeah. He got dizzled, and it's his own fault because he used a driver. He was so comfortable
Oh,
at
he's
like
tapping in
10
with it.
feet.
Yeah.
10 feet, picked up a driver, just went like that, and just went swoop right through, went out. And I was like, I should count that for him,
Yeah, but I'm not
but I'm
gonna.
not going to.
Yeah.
Like, you're gonna take that. You're gonna take that bogey. That didn't help. He still beat me by like 5, I think. Um, I want to say 5 or 6, 5, but like he had a rough, not like he didn't have a terrible day, but he's usually on. Right? You
Yeah.
play with Spencer, he's just accurate. He gets close. He's gonna make the putt more often than not. You don't play with him. Like he even said it during our round. You don't play with Spencer and go, man, that guy's lights out putting. He's just like quietly there.
He's just
He's
there.
not out
Yeah.
driving, right?
No.
He's throwing it accurate, not making mistakes, getting it close, and making a putt, and
Mm-hmm.
that's his thing. So it was nice to play with him. In a round that we technically I didn't want to count,
Right.
but I did, and I learned a little bit more from him about the straddle putt, and I'll be using that going forward to add to it. And I'll probably practice it a couple times during casual rounds or whatever at ECP. Just how we usually do like a straddle putt only round. Just
Yeah.
do that.
Yeah. Do something
It's
like
not going
that.
to count, right? So I'll probably do that in the next time I go to ECP with the boys or something, and try to make it better.
Yeah.
All right.
I think we can wrap up here and we can save our next topic for next week. I think.
Yes, but
What do you want to
one
talk
final
about? Oh yeah.
announcement.
Yeah.
US DGC Dubs is going to be announced probably tomorrow. If I don't get anything back from the parks for Niagara County, then it's going to be in Erie County.
Okay.
But I want to put it out there. I want to say it was. I'm looking at my calendar one more time. July 28th. It's a Sunday, July 28th. So I'm probably gonna post. Today is Tuesday. By Thursday, I'll have all the information up and have registration probably ready to go by hopefully Friday to give people a couple weeks notice to get your fans together. I've been telling people it's going to happen, so you should already have your partners ready to go.
Yep.
We didn't get a lot of interaction on the posts, but they were asking other people, "Hey, when's this going to happen? When's it going to happen?" Go to the post because the reason it hasn't happened so quickly is because
No
only
one
a handful
said.
of people, like four people from Rochester, and like 5 or 6 people from Western New York here in the Buffalo area said it. So there was no
Yeah.
rush. It's like, what are you going to have? 8 teams? 5 teams?
Right.
So we're going to go through. We're going to give you guys a chance. Um, if we get a good turnout, then maybe we have a second one because the qualifiers have to be done by August 28th.
Yeah.
So we still have time. The main event is in Rock Hill, October 4 through the 6th, 2024. Your automatic bid will be paid for. So if you win, the money from the tournament is going to pay your registration for you and your partner to get in. And probably leave it up to you guys. It'll either be a gas card or like an Airbnb card to help get you there. And then we're trying to keep costs down, but we want people to be rewarded for competing. So it'll probably be like a top 3, maybe even 4 if we get enough teams. But the payout's going to be focused for what this event is actually for. And this event is for the best MA1 and FA1 players, doubles teams, to go down to Rock Hill and compete and represent the Western New York area. So whoever that ends up being, we want to support you and help you get there. So look for that information to be posted in the next couple of days. You'll have this out in the next day or two. So that information will be posted in the next couple of days. Any questions, you can reach out to me. I am going to have some help. And not just D2DG team members, but there's some other people who've offered to help that want to help. So we're working on the details. We'll see if it's going to be a flex start or if it's going to be a double 2-round event. I don't want to leave it as just a single round.
Yeah, you should do 2 rounds.
I want to do 2 rounds, but
because U.S. doubles is like 4 rounds, so
yeah.
And one of them is Winthrop Coliseum, so
that's why one of the initial things was to have it in 2 places, have 2 rounds, have it in
cool,
Shorewinds, because Shorewinds has 2 different courses technically.
Yeah.
Right? And it's easier to have it there. And then whatever. It's going to be announced because we're running out of time. So
you'll have
a good time. And automatic bid to USDGC.
US
automatic. USDGC doubles.
Yeah. Which is pretty sick. Automatic. Don't get me wrong. I've played all the courses.
It's still a great event.
It's awesome.
It's still a great event. And you get to compete against literally the best around the country.
You'll play against probably this year's USAM winner, Ryan Mon. Have no doubt that he will make it again with his team, with him and Davidson. I assume they'll play again. They won last year. Wasn't
Wysocki's brother in the running for something?
Zach Wysocki is like sneaky, getting up to like 1,000 rated, and yeah, he's real good. He's been shooting a lot of consistent 1,000 rated league rounds around here.
Yeah, so if you don't get out of Western New York very much and you win this and you make that trip, you're in for.
You're going to see some real good guys. It's real fun. Real good guys and girls. It's
top level competition. Yeah, and it's run on the pro.
You play Winthrop Coliseum
courses. So
it's all set up. It's set up
the exact same way.
I will be out there. I plan on taking the weekend. I'll probably take Friday off. It starts Friday. Maybe I'll take Thursday off and go practice with the guys. I told my friends down here that I assume they're going to make it again. They make it every year. That I'll probably take off a couple days and go hang out with them at US doubles.
I'm not giving myself a very good chance at this at all. I think I will compete just for a shot at going down there, because I want to see and I want to make that trip anyways.
Yeah.
I talked to Jacob. Jacob lives in South Carolina now, just across the border from Lacey. I forgot. He told me. So I'll probably stay there and hopefully make a week of it because I want to see USDGC and see the doubles event. So if whoever does win makes it down there, you'll have some support. We'll be down there hopefully to see you guys and girls, whoever makes it.
Yeah.
and we can try to help make arrangements too because we have a lot of people in that area. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
going to be a good event.
Yeah. Absolutely. So
All right. Thanks.
with that, we'll wrap it up. Keep this one a little more bite-sized this week. And
Ding.
yeah, like, share, subscribe, hit the bell. Make sure you get notified when this drops. I know some of you do, because for some reason some of you listen to this immediately when I post it every time. Like schmo.
That's awesome. We appreciate you guys. We do.
Yeah.
And you
So
know what? When you do, feel free to share it on your page. Help us get it to a wider audience.
yeah.
Get it to your friends. Get it to those new people. That's what we're all about.
Yeah.
Helping amateur hour for a reason, right? So let's get the word spread out and help us, and we'd love to help you guys.
All right. Take care, everybody.